Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lettermen Lounge at the world-famous Roosters restaurant on Old Tangi River Road in Columbus, Ohio. As Austin Ward would say, the most beautiful city in the world. Austin is not here. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. That's Justin Zwick. This is Nicole Cox and Tyvis Powell. Austin is en route or is already rooted or whatever. I'm not sure how that
routed. He's rooted en route.
He's in Los Angeles getting ready for Rose Bowl stuff. So we're gonna.
Did he leave the hotel today to get to the game on time?
I think that's what you have.
I think that's what I heard. Something about that out there.
LA
traffic or something.
Right? We're in game week,
yes,
right? So
it's been a while since we said that. Sheesh.
5 days until the Ohio State and Utah Rose Bowl game. We think obviously college football is in another bit of its panic over COVID. Mm-hmm. Multiple games canceled in the last few days. How would you guys, as players, have handled a situation like you're already in California? The team traveled to California on Sunday. How on earth could you possibly take a game seriously if you aren't sure every single day that it's going to actually be played?
See, I think, well, due to the fact that who our head coach was at the time, it would probably been forced upon us. Yeah. He probably would have been on some you guys got to stay in the hotel room and don't even go outside.
You guys were experts on quarantine for well before COVID.
Absolutely, because he definitely would have. He'd have made sure that if this game did get canceled, it wouldn't be because of us.
It's an interesting thing. I think once you get there, it's got to have a feeling like we're playing this game, right? I mean, it's real. We are in this state. We flew across country. Yeah, I guess you're just hoping that they don't test you on a daily basis once you're there.
Memphis flew to Hawaii last week.
Were they there when they?
Listen,
I guess they had.
The game was Friday. Memphis flew to Hawaii.
I'm gonna let you know something.
And the game got canceled on Thursday night.
I'm gonna let you know something.
They were probably cool.
Well, they were like, let's go to North Shore. Let's go check this out.
If I fly all the way to Hawaii or LA. Something gonna get played. I don't know what's going. Something gonna get played. Ain't no way that I just flew all the way out here to just sit here. We going sightseeing, or we going in the backyard playing a pickup game or something.
Yeah, it's an interesting part. I mean, you almost just have to go to every practice saying, "Man, if we do play, I got to be ready to go." Right? If we do play, I can't put on film what was on film that last game we played. So I mean, I think that has got to be. At least for Ohio State.
We are past the statute of limitations to talk about that game anymore, so we have to let it go. Nicole, you're going to California on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
How has the preparation been for you with the Roosters Bowl trip? And are you excited about that?
Absolutely. I mean, we're very excited. As we've talked about on the show, I'm an anxious person anyway, but so I just want to make sure, that everybody can go to the game, that everybody's able to come back home. But I know it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be great. It's just weird having all of these stipulations. And I think that just so many, the numbers here in Ohio have been so high lately. And I'm just hoping. So one of our winners, actually, the friend he was going to take, his wife, he's just not able to go anymore, and it was such a bummer. So he's able to take his mom, which is great. Nice. So I just think for all of our people, I just want to make sure that this works out great for all of them, which I know it will. It's going to be awesome once we get there. And again, we're staying in Huntington Beach, so even if the game isn't played, Huntington Beach is beautiful. Yeah, the hotel we're staying, it's beautiful. We can just hang out, and we'll make the best of it as always.
It's still a pretty good way to spend New Year's Eve.
Absolutely,
for
absolutely.
The Roosters Bowl winners.
So it'll be a success regardless.
Now, as you look at this, the Rose Bowl is, it is still on at this point. They have amended some of their media availability. They're not doing the team-wide media days to prevent, whatever they're preventing in that instance. I don't know. But as a player, when you guys are preparing for a bowl game, how different is that this week? Because, the last 2 weeks you've been home, you had some bowl practices, but a lot of bowl practices, especially for the veterans, were really about the young guys getting reps. Mm-hmm. And then you get a chance to go home for the holiday. How hard is it to re-engage when you are flying to, for you, whether you're flying to San Antonio one year and you're flying to Phoenix another year, you're flying to New Orleans or wherever you guys are going, how difficult is it to re-engage that switch?
Okay, so I'll take you back to when we played Clemson in the Orange Bowl. That year we flew down to Miami and we had to practice when we got off the plane. That was just completely difficult because it's like, man, you got this 2.5 hour flight or whatever it is, and now you gotta come out here and you want us to practice after that. It was just difficult.
Tyvis, I've talked about that. The flying, you got to take the flying into consideration. It's hard on the body. It's hard on the body.
You're not supposed to fly through the air as people.
You just, that jet lag is real. You really be like lethargic, tired.
You went to Miami. It was on the same time zone.
I know, but it's just
is this why you guys were so tired that game?
Is that what it was?
Doors blown off?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, but then
you guys single-handedly allowed Clemson to become a thing.
Wait a minute. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't put that on him.
Because that's not really 100% true. Okay, they had some good players.
Yes, they did.
And we had some things happen towards the end of that game that should have went differently. I should say that way. It was the higher ups. You know, some players should have been pulled from due to injury, but they didn't. But that's another story. But to answer your question, we went to the Sugar Bowl and we did not practice after that. And we had a great week of preparation. Obviously, you know, it led to the success of the game. So I think locking back in after holidays is not that hard because you're motivated to play. It's like, okay, we've been sitting here for a whole month just messing around,
at the
Woody,
just ugly outside.
Yeah, you know, all that. Now it's like it's game week. Let's lock in. We finally got something to play for at the end of this week. So the locking in is not hard.
Do you think it's different for this group, especially because they've been so locked away from family for so long anyway? I mean, maybe it is harder to re-engage when you've been away from your family and then you finally get a chance to go home and see people?
Yeah, there's got to be something to that.
I mean, you know what, though? Tim, the way I used to look at it is this: them going home was really good for them because, like you say, they've been locked away. They haven't been able to do it, but that's usually typically the athlete's motivation is their family. So you know, you to get to see your family, you know, they get to tell you, you know, the good and the bad that you're doing, and it's just when you see them, you know that why, you know your why. This is my why, my family. So I want to go out there and put on a good show for my family. And I think being able to see them and seeing how your family is, because some people don't come from the best environment. You know, they might be going back home to poverty and stuff like that. So to see them, it probably motivated them and hit a reset button. So now they coming back and they probably more focused to go out there and execute in this game.
Yeah, you know, as far as getting out there, you know, I think that first practice, I mean, you talked about getting right off the plane and going to practice, but
not a good idea.
You know, I think that first practice, whenever it is, right away or the next day, is kind of like everything's new to you, right? You're going to a school or some high school that you haven't been to before. Yep. You know, you're in a little locker room. You got, you know, all that stuff is different. So you get that first day of practice, you're probably in shoulder pads. They just want to get you out on the field and get you going a little bit. After that, I think it's easy to say, all right, we're here. We've seen everything that's new for us. We know where we're practicing. We know the situation for the day, how it's going to work, buses to the field home, you know, all that different stuff that you're just not used to. I think after that first day of being through that, I think then you can say, all right, we're hitting tomorrow. You know, we're going full pads or whatever that may be. So I think that's when you kind of lock in that second day of practice. But, you know, being in California is different looking outside than it is here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's got to be exciting and wake up and like, oh, it's beautiful outside. Let's go out. And, you know, it probably gives you a little more energy than looking out the window here and saying, geez, I got to go outside today.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because you see, like I said, the media day's canceled, right? Mm-hmm. But you still have the media obligations like going to the Beef O'Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
The Beef Bowl. I read about that this morning.
The Beef Bowl and having to go see which team eats more prime rib. Then you still have to go to Disneyland or Disney. Which one is it?
I think it's Disney World out there.
No, Disneyland is in California.
Disneyland is?
Disney World.
So you still have to go to Disneyland. You got to get in the bus and go drive there for an hour and then go there for 15 minutes, then leave. It's just
you telling me you wouldn't be excited to go to Disneyland? I
had to go to Disneyland when we were in.
He hates the state of California.
Clearly.
When we covered the Rose Bowl in 2018 for the final game of Urban Meyer's career, we were out there at the Disneyland thing. It was okay.
You went on a couple rides.
It was just okay.
What was your favorite ride? What was your favorite ride?
You don't do rides?
He doesn't like to fly. He doesn't like anything fun.
I prefer to keep my feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
I'll stand right
there.
You
don't even like flying, is what you saying.
Why do you think he's here, not out in California?
If I could drive to California for a bowl game, and if like Austin and Spencer then wouldn't freak out about it, I would absolutely do that.
Oof.
You on your own.
Are you that way? You fly.
I fly. I'm a better flyer now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you wasn't for a while?
I was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah,
just go to sleep. You go just
How
go
do
to
you
sleep
on a plane.
What do you mean?
You just say, Jesus, take the wheel. And you just sit down and just relax.
Listen, if things go bad, you sleep, so you don't know. You don't know.
I'm sure you'd wake up.
I'm not that heavy. I'm not that heavy of a sleeper.
Yeah,
I'm not that heavy of a sleeper. But I think you brought up that Orange Bowl against Clemson, and one of those things that happened that weekend was really the first time that I can remember was a player opted out of the bowl game when Bradley Roby decided to unofficially opt out by saying he was hurt.
He was.
He could have.
He was hurt.
Mm-hmm. Was he hurt? Or was he injured?
He was hurt.
He
was not injured.
Well, due to the he suffered an injury in the Big Ten championship. I don't know if he was 100% or not.
I'm not going to ask you to put Mr. Roby on the spot, but you guys know he could have played.
It was a business decision.
Right. So here we are. It's game week. I think everyone sort of expected that Ohio State would have a handful of guys decide not to play. And as we talked about after the Michigan game, it does feel like some of the guys on this team have decided, hey, we need to finish this the right way. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to play. I still expect a couple names to pop here in the next couple of days, the guys that aren't going to play. It's not our spot to put those out there, so let people handle their business their own way. But this wasn't a thing when you were in college.
Gosh, no.
How would you have, how did this change so much in 20 years?
You got to be kidding me.
How did this change so much in 20 years?
It really kind of, the first time I really seen it, where it was just like drastic, was probably the year after I left college. Like, so the 2016 when we played USC.
2017.
Was that 2017 when we played? Yeah.
Because it's 2016.
Because I think Denzel and Nick Bosa opted out, right?
That would have been Nick would have been the Rose Bowl in 2019.
Was it?
18.
Yeah, so Nick, that was his senior year because he got hurt.
I don't remember.
No. So 20.
I'm trying to think back to 02 and 03. Like, I can't deal with it.
Let me do the math for you. 2016, January 1, 2016 was Ohio State, Notre Dame at the Fiesta Bowl. December 31st, 2016, so 2 bowl games that year, was the back in Fiesta Bowl against Clemson. That was 31-0 beat down that Ohio State lost.
Yeah,
because of the Clemson team that you guys created. So then Ryan Day and Greg Schiano and those guys came in after that in the 2017 year. And then that was the 2017 game was that was the Rose Bowl, or that was the Sugar Bowl. No, what's the Cotton Bowl against USC?
Okay, yeah.
Then
the Rose.
I don't remember that game at all.
Okay, well, put it to you this way. 2015, my last year against Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, we all played. We all knew who was leaving. We knew Zeke was leaving, D. Lee,
but it was that
Joey.
game that I think changed a lot of minds for people.
But we all played
because of what happened to Jalen Smith in that game.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's
you're right.
What Jalen Smith tearing up his knee in the first quarter of that game.
Probably, yeah.
Is probably why a lot of kids.
So it's our fault again.
Again, your fault. In that game, Joey Bosa gets kicked out after hitting someone.
Do
you think he did that on purpose?
He calls me Joey. We need to have a conversation because if you did that on purpose, we off the record. We need to talk about it because you wiped one of my interceptions where I had a 2-pick performance and one of them got wiped away because of you.
If I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but if he did, that'd be quite brilliant.
It would have been smart. Was it early in the game?
Very early. First quarter, yeah.
He probably did. Business decision.
Yeah.
But how did it change this much in 20 years?
Because that stuff was happening.
Because everybody fears injury.
Throughout.
They fear injury right now. And it's like, I mean, some assholes.
Are you saying old heads didn't fear injury?
No.
I mean,
it's just different time.
Yeah, they did.
When we got there, we signed up to play for 4 years as long as they'd have us.
Yeah.
And we played every game that we were supposed to play.
It's because you don't, for some people, you're so good. Like your future is solidified. So it's like, if I don't play this game, I'm not risking injury and they already seen enough of me.
But now we're seeing that trickle down into high school. Do you see what you guys did?
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
It's a slippery slope.
Now we're seeing kids in high school.
Them guys.
Again,
I'm all about
you
playing.
Can't say us because because
unbelievable.
We played.
Unbelievable.
America, I played.
Yeah, it is interesting because you had the BCS game, right?
Yeah.
So all the other bowl games that these guys played for 20 years didn't matter, and they just kept playing in them.
But I think what you're going to see, I honestly believe, aside from just the sheer number of kids that are opting out of these bowl games that aren't in the playoff, now you're seeing how quickly bowl games can be canceled. And this isn't like Texas A&M. They said, hey, we're not going to play in our bowl game. And in the release, they said because of COVID, season-ending injuries, transfers. So their entire roster is just like, yeah, you know what? We don't want to play.
Yeah,
and it's not even about necessarily COVID. Nicole, like, if you are running a team and you got 60 dudes that want to play and 25 are like, nah, screw it. We're not going to. I mean,
I'm putting the 60 out there.
I think, like, listening to all of this, we're going to start just totally, I guess, eliminating, like, college football because guys are afraid for their pro career, which I get that. But at the same time, like, you still have to perform in college. That's what you signed up to do. And if guys, I mean, it is weird that guys are backing out and not being in a bowl game. I feel like that's when your college team needs you the most, you know?
I think I just like it because it's against competition. Like I do criticize the CFP, but sometimes these bowl games be pretty even matchups. Like it's a great matchup. Like you should want to go.
You're not usually playing. Your fan base is going against somebody new, and
it's part of your job.
The goal at the beginning of the season. Hey, we want to do this, this, and this. You know, everybody wants to win the conference national championship. It doesn't happen for everybody. Yeah. So you go out and you play well. You get that bowl game. It was like
it's a reward.
A reward for, man, all right, we had a decent season. We're going to, the better bowl game you went to, the better the season you had. Back when
it's like the last time, for people that's opting out early, it's the last time you're going to play with your teammates. Yeah. So it's like, I want to go out there and rock with my boys one last time. Yeah. I mean, that's what we did.
I'm a cynic, right? So I look at the Texas A&M situation, and I think to myself, they could have said on December 1st, you know what, we're not going to play in a bowl game. But instead, they got all their extra bowl practices.
Yep.
They got
their swag, probably.
And then they're like, nope, we're not going to play. And then you cost another team an opportunity to have that experience, a team that maybe wasn't a top 15 team all year long. You saw how quickly Rutgers jumped in to play against Wake Forest. I mean, they're like, hey, we're
jumping at the bit. We'll go play in these.
Sure will.
These kids that are building programs that need to be built still are dying for those opportunities. And I think it's really kind of absurd that I think, we're obviously heading into the world of a totally different era of college sports coming down the road, even with name, image, and likeness and all the things that are going to come with that as far as probable unionization and all that stuff that comes with it. There's going to be contracts, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be told you're signing up for this and you opt out. Oh, that's a breach of contract. And then what happens? I mean, it's going to be I don't like the way it's going.
It's not good.
It's a different day and age, but I mean, I tell you what college football has done than previous is that the players have more power. I feel like, I mean, they getting these deals now. If they don't want to play in games, they don't have to play in games. And like I say, you probably be right. They might have to put it on the contract where it's like, listen,
season didn't go good. I'm getting out.
Yeah.
I didn't play as much as I wanted to. I'm just leaving. It's insane.
If I don't get my starting spot, you came to my house as a recruit and told me that I'll be starting and I'll be playing for this team. If I'm not playing by this time, I'm transferring.
Or hey, coach, by next year I got to be starting this, or I got to play this much, or my contract that I signed over here for my name, image, and likeness, it goes out the window.
The game ultimately is still about football, right? It's supposed to be, and it's more and more about other stuff. And that's why, like, you look at the Ohio State fan base heading into this Rose Bowl. I guess we should talk about that still.
Yeah.
It seems like there is a good percentage of the fan base that's like, who cares?
Yeah.
But, like, do you feel that way?
No, I'm excited to watch it.
Do you feel that way?
I'm excited.
Do you feel that way?
I'm watching it 100% because I need to know moving forward what we got.
And I think, too, I feel like all of us should still be in the mindset just to be so grateful that there is a bowl game, that fans can go to, fans can attend, because a year ago, we didn't have that option. So
there are not going to be a lot of Buckeye fans in attendance if you look at the ticket sales.
It's like 70 to 30.
They're expecting roughly 70% Utah fans. And again, when you look at the extenuating circumstances around COVID, around travel to California right now, which is, the amount of money that it costs to fly to California right now is ludicrous.
Stay there.
inside of the stadium, I think you're still forced to wear masks in the crowd, even though it's outdoors. You have to be vaccinated to get in. I mean, there's a lot of things that a lot of people are like, hey, this isn't worth it for me to make that sort of trip.
It's like that.
For a game that
Different world.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that
you say it doesn't matter. I mean, I grew up where the granddaddy, it was the granddaddy.
That was that's what I think
we would
too.
sit down
I did use air quotes.
Well, I mean, I would sit down, every New Year's Day, and the Rose Bowl came on. It was a Big Ten, Big Ten team playing in it, whether it was Ohio State or whoever. We always root for the Big Ten during bowl season.
It wasn't Ohio State very often.
No, it wasn't. Oh. But you root for the Big Ten just because you want to see our conference go out and do well against other teams. So
it's actually crazy when you think about how infrequently Ohio State's been in the Rose Bowl, considering the success the Buckeyes have had.
Well, it's the same thing with the coach of the year,
1984, 1997, 2018. Like it's not a.
Did we play Oregon with Terrell Pryor?
2010.
Okay,
correct.
So in the past decade, it's only been 2 times.
Twice, and so in the past 3 decades, it's only been 4 times.
Sheesh.
And you certainly.
Good problem.
It's
right?
still, I mean, it is.
I mean, it is.
You're going to play. You're going to play in a different game for a different reason.
Let's talk about the game for a minute, Nicole.
Yes.
What young Buckeye? Because we're just going to assume it's going to have to be a young Buckeye. It's a bowl game. It's a bowl game that doesn't matter. This is an opportunity for young Buckeyes to step up and cement themselves as future stars, as the guy to know for next year. The NFL buzz, the Heisman buzz, all that stuff. Obviously, C.J. Stroud's a Heisman finalist. Who's the guy you're excited to watch play and see on the field again after a month?
Well, let me just say this season has been the most fun for me to watch because I just have loved watching all of these guys grow and each game getting to see them improve, which is fun instead of them just being at this high level of just being great all the time. It's just been neat to watch them improve every single game. And so I think, especially this year, Travion Henderson, I'm very excited to see him in the bowl game. I'm excited to see what the future holds for him and just watching him and how absolutely amazing he is this past season. And he's healthy now. So I think that's, but I'm just excited to see the game in general too. So
I think with Travion, as she alluded to, being healthy, I mean, he got dinged up pretty bad in the Penn State game, and it never kept him off the field, but
you could feel like he got hurt because
you could see that he wasn't the same player. In the Michigan game, I think you finally started to see him get closer to full speed.
Yeah.
Even though the Buckeyes didn't utilize him much in the run game, in the screen game and that stuff, where they should have done that all day long. But
they should have.
Whatever. You saw that burst there, and I think you look at a kid like that, and you get him a month off, a chance to rest up. I do think you're going to see a big game from Travion.
Rest is key too.
Rest is very important.
It's very important.
Breakfast and rest.
I agree.
Breakfast?
I think breakfast is very important.
Don't say that because I don't think
breakfast.
Breakfast.
I was about to say I didn't eat breakfast.
I eat dinner. That's all I eat.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Week.
Do you think that breakfast was just unceremoniously labeled the most important meal of the day without science?
Do you think
I really do?
Do you think the food pyramid was just thrown out there? I mean, we don't use that anymore.
I really do.
Science changes.
You know what the most important?
How much bread are you eating in the morning when you wake up?
You know what the most important meal of the day is? Whatever the first one you eat.
Which is breakfast?
No. Some people wake up late.
Okay, YouTube commenters, I need your opinion.
What if you wake up at 11 o'clock?
What is the most important meal of the day?
The first one you eat, which could be lunch.
It's dinner for me.
But then you go to bed right after. Like,
are you an intermittent?
I eat between 6 and 8 at night every day.
An intermittent fasting.
I am.
Guy. Okay.
And you don't eat all day?
I want to try that.
I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning.
I'm
good.
I've tried it. I'm grouchy.
I snack. I eat lunch every now and then.
It's a popular diet strategy.
So what time do you? This has nothing to do with anything. What time do you wake up in the morning?
6:15.
So you go 12 hours.
Have a cup of coffee. Work out. Cup of coffee. Go to the office.
I don't know.
And eat dinner around 6 to 8.
So he eats
I'm gonna try.
So they eat only between 6. So the intermittent fasters, they only eat in the specific window every single day. The same window.
January 1st.
I'm probably more an extreme. I mean, when you do the apps, like Schlegel used to have an app. He would do, there's ones where it's like 12 off or 12 off, 12 on. So my 2-hour one is not scientifically proven. That's how I do it.
But 12 on, 12 off seems kind of weird to me because I'm going to eat.
That's probably normal.
I'm going to eat anything I want between 8 and 8. That's
that's
what
most people
normal
do.
person.
Yeah. I'm just saying the 2-hour thing is just how I It's just how it works for me.
Who are you interested to see?
I got two guys. Of course, CJ Stroud. I think you've seen some of those pictures of him at the Heisman, where it's just like he's just staring holes through people. Yeah. And I'm excited for him to come out and just have a day. I think he probably had a little fire lit underneath him, and just how everything went out there, even though he was a finalist, and that's great as a freshman, and he had a great year, all that stuff. But I just think I think he's going to want to prove a point, come out here and have a great day. And then on the other side of the ball, somebody that we've seen a lot, Steel Chambers. I think he's going to have a game, because they're going to want to run the ball, and they got 4 or 5 guys that are averaging 5 yards carry at times, and he's going to have a good game. So I'm excited to see him fly around and show this new running backs turned linebacker how it gets done.
So it's a home game for CJ Stroud. Who's your guy?
The front 7.
Okay.
On defense.
Just all of them?
All
on both sides.
I love it.
Both sides. Yeah, on both sides. Yeah. Listen, they've been criticized for the past month, I say, about their physicality and is this a tough team or not. And, we hear reports that saying that, practice has been so physical. And I think they want to get out there and they want to show the world that this is a physical team. I think that right there will ease the mind of all Buckeye fans moving forward going into next year, that, maybe the team up north just out-schemed us that day, but it wasn't a physical thing. I think they want to put that on notice that they are a very physical team, and with Utah being considered a physical team, it'll be a great chance for them to see where they're at. So I'm interested to see the front 7. I want to see if our offensive line can create holes for Travion Henderson, and I want to see if our front 7 can stop their physical run.
For me, I expect the young receivers to play a lot, and I don't even necessarily mean Jackson Smith and Jig, but I think this is the first time we're going to see Julian Fleming, Emeka Egbuka, and Marvin Harrison Jr. really get a lot of run. Whether or not Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson play, whether or not if they're there, I don't expect them to play much at all, even if they do travel and end up making the trip. But I expect you see those guys really step up, and I'm especially excited to see Emeka Egbuka, because I think he's a different type of wide receiver, and that different burst that we really haven't seen. And to me, he's like Terry Glenn fast, and you maybe a little too old for you guys, but.
Too old for you guys.
Maybe
hold on.
Too old for
I don't know. I don't know the Ohio State Terry Glenn, but I do know the Dallas Cowboy Terry Glenn. So
I want you to go back.
I ain't that young.
I want you to go watch 1995 Terry Glenn.
I'm gonna go look. It's on YouTube.
Yes, it was the single best receiver season that any Buckeye has ever had, and he was just
impressive.
He was just
I gotta look it up now.
different than anyone you've ever seen play.
Emeka Egbuka
reminds me of.
I just want him to return kicks this game,
right?
Because I feel like we were missing that here towards the end of the season. I think he was the explosiveness you're talking about. He was showing that on those kickoffs. So if he's healthy, I expect some of that.
Or prediction.
What?
Spencer, what's the line for the Rose Bowl?
What?
Spencer.
Okay, this might not be. I was just thinking about it.
Out a number,
how about
7.5?
How about 23-38 Buckeyes?
Buckeyes 38, Utah 23.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, say it.
I mean, guys, I'm
38 to 23.
6.5 is the line.
Okay, well, I'm not anywhere near that, but I'm gonna. That's just what I'm gonna say. That's what I was thinking.
A 2-score.
It's what came from my gut that hasn't been right this year.
Hey, it's a comfortable win.
Yeah.
And I think Buckeyes fans would be happy about that. You're going to be in California with 24 of them. Looking forward to your report from that.
No.
And on that note, we're going to let Nicole get out of here, and we're going to take a brief break, get some more appetizers. It is
mini corn dogs.
Appetizer Tuesday. Get in here tomorrow. $2. Yeah, or a surprise. $2 appetizers tomorrow.
And we'll be back in a minute.
Roosters is one of the unique companies that we deal with. They're involved in everything we do, from our personal foundation to also the Cancer Research Fund. And that's from the Buckeye Cruise from Cancer to all the events leading up to the Buckeye Cruise.
They donate back to different organizations that are near and dear to their heart. And we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long, long time.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Precision engineering, rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
We're back. Lettermen Live. Roosters on Tangi. Spencer Holbrook is now here as opposed to Nicole Cox. Spencer, welcome to the Sheer. How are you?
Good.
I think that there's a clamoring amongst the people out there for more FaceTime for Spencer. So
No.
I've heard that.
I've heard that too.
See?
I got to talk to Spencer on the radio a couple days ago.
Man.
It's nice to see you in person.
Ballers.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than I have a face for radio, but it's better to see me in person, isn't it, Tyvis?
It is. I could understand your humor a little bit better.
It is a bit dry. He's a touch dry, Spencer is. You know what else is dry? California. Most of the time.
Isn't that your favorite state?
I love it.
Beautiful out there.
It's right.
People are amazing.
Denial is my favorite state. So we're talking Rose Bowl. It's here-ish, we think. 5 days away. Spencer, you're like kind of the more of the X's and O's guy on the Lettermen Row staff. What do you think the biggest matchup issue is for Ohio State heading into this game?
It's the offensive line. And Ohio State's offensive line has to come to play. And if Ohio State's offensive line doesn't come to play, I really do think Utah can beat Ohio State. Ohio State has one of the 3 or 4 best rosters, top to bottom, 1 to 85, you cover it, in the sport. And it's not even close. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, and it's Ohio State, and then there's everyone else. But when Ohio State goes against the bigger 300-plus pound defensive tackles, the better edge rushers that can also stop the run, like a David Ojabo, like an Aiden Hutchinson. When Ohio State tries to get to the second level against athletic linebackers, it really has struggled this year. You look at what happened when they went against Oregon, struggled to run the ball, struggled to protect at times. You look at what happened, obviously, against Michigan. That tale has been written plenty of times in the last month. Devin Lloyd is one of the best linebackers in the country. It's hard enough to get to the second level on him. Then when you're no matter what.
I assume he plays for Utah?
Yeah. Then
Thank you.
Then
I was putting it together.
Yeah. We're just doing the math. No, I mean,
but when you talk about trying to get to the second level onto him and block him up, when you have a 320-pound, West Coast defensive tackle on you, like that is not an easy task. And I think Ohio State is going to struggle with that offensive line, or it's going to take it as a challenge and say, what you saw against Michigan's not what we are. This is not a soft offensive line, but it's one that has struggled, and I think it can struggle again if it doesn't come to play.
I tried to watch Utah twice this year, and both times it was against Oregon.
Yeah,
and both times I turned it off by the middle of the first quarter because it was a blowout.
I might say they destroyed it.
So I don't pretend to know a whole bunch about their philosophy defensively, but do they blitz the linebackers? Because to me, that's Ohio State's biggest issue the last couple of years is when you actively blitz linebackers against them. That's a problem. When you watch with Penn State, that's what they do very well. That's what Wisconsin does to Ohio State all the time. Do they do that?
I don't think they blitz as much as they just they really understand the assignment. And, gap, it sucks to put it into these kind of terms, but gap integrity is really important. I think the safety will tell you that. If you don't have gap integrity, you got a safety trying to make a tackle.
I stand by that 100%.
So
Tyvis approved.
When you talk about Ohio State trying to, zone block a team that's really, really good at gap integrity, being good gap sound like Michigan was. Michigan was really sound when it came to making sure every hole was filled. And so I think Utah has a good chance of giving Ohio State some headaches, especially early when the Buckeyes are trying to get a feel for the game. You always say the first quarter doesn't matter because everybody's trying to get a feel for it.
Right.
I think Ohio State has reason to believe Utah can give them fits in this game just because of the way the Utah defense does not mess up. They do not give you free yards.
But for you guys, I mean, the first quarter may not matter in an average game, but knowing what happened in the last game, if you come out and get punched in the mouth right away and don't respond, do you worry that the Ohio State front seven on both sides of the ball, as you said, could say, "Hey, we're out. We're out of this one"?
If Ohio State gets punched in the mouth
and if
in the first quarter,
you don't respond
yes,
right away.
Yes,
I think this is very important first quarter for Ohio State.
Yes, I will 100% feel like they folding their cards because that's the thing about the game of football. It's you either, and I hate to put it in these terms, you either kill or be killed. Okay, you can't just come out here and think you either gonna be aggressive or you just gonna take and I don't, as a man, I'm not about to sit there and just be a punching bag for somebody.
But I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like in a normal game, I think there's a little bit of that chess match in that first quarter.
If it happens right away, maybe they're in the back of theirs and maybe we are soft.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't bounce back from that because gosh. And the thing about this game is, in years past, when we play a Pac-12 team, or Pac whatever they are now, how many teams?
Pac-40.
Yeah. typically you guys would say what? Big Ten, we're going to pound them.
Yeah.
That we're more physical than they are. That's how it's been.
That's exactly what you
know. When we played Oregon in the national championship game, that's kind of we overpowered them. We did what we wanted to.
Way more of a physical team than them.
So you hope the guys on the team don't have that idea in their head saying, we're going to overpower these guys. Because this is a Pac-12 team that can come in and that can run the ball down your throat.
Kyle Whittingham's team is not a finesse team.
And that's funny that you bring that up because when we played Oregon in the national championship, that's what we said. We was like, oh, this is
I'm going to tell you
finesse team.
Yeah.
And they came
That's
out
what
and they was boom. I was like, woo, okay, I got some respect for y'all.
I don't know. I never used this term correctly, but anecdotally, it's funny to think about it. I remember being at Media Day for that Sugar Bowl against Alabama inside of the Superdome. And we walked in there with media and all the teams are there. And I was like, oh boy, that Alabama team is gigantic. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is not going to be fun and or easy for Ohio.
Big.
And then 2 weeks later in Dallas, when Oregon walked in, I was like, is this a high school team?
Yeah. It's like when Purdue walked on the field. Yeah. Austin and I were standing on the field a few weeks ago, or I guess a month and a half ago now, when Purdue walked on the field. I said, is this their basketball team? Offensive line comes out on the field, you're like, is that guy playing power forward?
It's been a lot of games where it's been like.
But then Oregon went down the field on that first drive against you guys.
Yeah.
And just straight up punch you in the mouth.
They running backs definitely, like, I had a lot of respect for their running back. Both of them, Tyner and Freeman, they ran that ball hard.
But here's how that kind of, I guess, equates to what we're talking about this year in the Rose Bowl is Utah has never been to a Rose Bowl. Utah finally got over the hump of winning the Pac-12. They beat Oregon really badly.
Twice.
That is a motivated bunch.
Going to be a home crowd, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a very highly motivated bunch of guys. And on the other hand, you have a team that should be playing for, really, if they handle business, should be playing for a national championship on the night before that, and instead is going to walk into a Rose Bowl that is not a home crowd like usually Ohio State bowl games are, there will be, we assume, a couple opt-outs. The offseason has already started. You've replaced your defensive coordinator already. Some of these coaches are on the outs. The motivation factor is the biggest key here because this is
the best their year could have gone, right? They get to the Rose Bowl.
This is the height of Utah football. Mm-hmm. This is the low point of the last decade for Ohio State almost, by what people think Ohio State should be. And so the only reason I'm bringing all this up is if Ohio State gets punched in the mouth, you either have to use the motivation of hearing about the finesse versus soft versus powerful team. You have to use the motivation of getting that taste out of your mouth, or you can say, all right, off-season's begun. Let's get to spring ball. And so there's two paths Ohio State can take.
And
they are so opposite.
They are.
Two roads.
Listen,
yellow wood.
Listen, if they come out there and they get punched in the mouth in the first quarter, I don't know what I would do, because for the past month, they've literally been hearing the same thing.
Been seeing those clips getting knocked on your butt,
thing. Like, there is no way you about to come out here and just get punched in the mouth again.
And if you do, then the Utah first quarter says a lot more about who you are than the Michigan third quarter.
I agree.
Cut it. That's it. Spencer hits it on the head.
Boom. I agree. No, I really. I agree. Well, I can't even
because in the Michigan third quarter there was almost, pardon the pun, because of what the weather was, it was a snowball effect. Ohio State comes out first 3 and out. Okay, you punt the ball. Michigan scores. It's 21-13. Ohio State has a terrible possession again. Michigan scores again. You are absolutely on the ropes, and there's really no slowing that down with a home crowd. Mm-hmm. The Utah game, you're starting from square one.
That's what I'm saying.
Plenty of motivation.
Yes.
And if you get punched in the mouth and don't respond, it's
obvious. It's what it. We know what it is.
So much more telling about the state of mind of all these guys.
I agree.
Than it was in the rivalry.
100% correct. So let's fast forward. Ohio State has won the Rose Bowl.
Great one.
The team has arrived back in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their final season meeting. On how long after the bowl game do you guys get together for the final time?
It's a couple of days.
What happens then?
You get an exit meeting with your coaches. They tell you, moving forward, what you could do better, how your season went. You go over there with your coaches. You get a coach. Well, ain't Coach Meyer no more. The head coach usually gives the team pretty much tell them how you did in the season, how we're going to move forward. And then that's it. You get about a week off, and then next thing you know, you back into Coach Mick's workout.
You guys weren't back that quickly 20 years ago, right? You guys had like a month off.
We had some time off, yes. I remember we would do our, kind of like an exit interview with Tress, where he would have you fill out all the goal sheet or, all the things you did well, and you had to write in 3 little things in each little box and go in and talk to him about it, tell him why you wrote it down.
You were like, I want to get better talking to the media.
You got to let me talk to him, Coach. You don't let me. They're asking for me. I know it. No, but we actually, he and I had some good conversations back then because by the time I was a senior, I was just telling him how I felt. And it was...
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah, it was what it was. But yeah, then he had some time off. I'll never forget after 2003 when we had Kansas State in the Fiesta Bowl in Krenzel, and we had 14 guys drafted that year. Yeah, Kansas State.
It was a very good Kansas State.
It was.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, L. Roberson.
I got to do
Michael
my
Bishop.
research,
Yeah.
man.
I remember watching that game.
L. Roberson at quarterback.
Somebody got in trouble
Darren
on their
Sproles.
team, though, right before.
Roberson,
Darren
Darren Sproles was there?
Yeah, Darren Sproles was the guy.
A very good Kansas
Yeah,
State.
so we come back to the Woody.
Did we win?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we kind of do the team meeting thing, and it's like, all right, break up. We go into the quarterback receiver room, and it's just like, wow, this is weird. Because it's like me and Troy, Santonio, Roy Hall, like we all the big dogs had left. Michael Jenkins was out, Drew Carter was out, Craig, Scotty Mack. Like the room was just totally different. So it just had a different like, oh, okay. And you're looking around. All right, this is it now. It's our turn. It's our show. Like, and then you got to start. Because when you're a freshman, sophomore, and you're watching these seniors do their thing, you kind of, even though you're used to being the guy leading and doing all that because you played quarterback, in my instance, you kind of take a back seat to those guys. Yeah. And so then it's like, ooh, now we're here. Troy and I are looking at each other like, which one is it going to be? Like, all right, now we start, and now we get into it.
You guys were at the point where early enrollees were just starting to happen. So Maurice Claret.
Yeah, Maurice was the first one. The first one, yes.
So it was in your class, but you guys were at the very start of that. By the time you were there, I mean, that 2014 season, you guys had 7 early enrollees with Raekwon and JD. And
my year, we had 6. It was me, Mike, Cardell, Jacoby, Bryante, and somebody else.
Last year, Ohio State had 15. This year there will be another 12 is the plan. When you have that many guys coming in mid-year and you're losing 20 some dudes, how challenging is it to instill what it takes to be a successful program when you have to basically indoctrinate 20% of your team the first week that you're back from the bowl game?
Well, see, that's the thing. Coach Mick does a great job with doing that. And usually the incoming freshmen just kind of follow suit, Like when it was my turn to be the leader of the secondary, I mean, it was me and Vaughn, and we did a great job of bringing people along. I think that was the year we had Malik and E. Smith, I think, was the 2.
Oh, you definitely take credit for Malik then.
Marshawn.
No,
was that all you?
I get on that. We'll talk about that later.
Marshawn, Eric Ladd.
Yeah, all of them coming in. So they kind of just follow suit, but they were young and they was hungry. And that's what you got to take. You got to take advantage of that. When the young guys and the freshmen come in, they're hungry. They're motivated. Don't nobody want to sit there and sit behind somebody. So you got to really push them and try to get them up to speed, because you never know. They could be your backup and you could go down and you need them to go in and be successful. So it wasn't no thing where we was like, I fear for my job. It was, I want everybody to be strong in this unit, because if somebody goes down, our next guy up will be just as good.
And I imagine it was probably hard to try to bring freshmen along when you also had your son trying to play quarterback, and you had to balance all of that.
I had a lot going on. It was
not
college.
Not a lot of guys have to be a parent.
I'm telling you, listen, I don't get the credit that I deserve, man.
Malik, Cardell, you raised everybody.
Come on, people, build the statue.
I need to be right next to Woody like this. Woody shoulder.
Well, that's a good spot as any to end this.
Are we making Rose Bowl picks?
Let's go. Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl.
Leaning up against Woody at the Woody Hayes.
Rose Bowl prediction. Jay-Z, what do you got?
Oh, what did Nicole say? 38-23.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or 20. She said 23-38. She hasn't learned this year.
That's all right.
I tried.
Nor should she.
Yeah.
Never.
I like that number. I like that. I guess not the number. I like the number in between. I think it can turn into that. I don't expect us to come out and get hit in the mouth and not react. I think these guys are wanting to want to have a better game, basically, and come down and come out with a win on their last game. And gosh, I think CJ is going to have a day. I don't know if their secondary can hang with even our young guys if they're forced in to get a lot of time. So I'm going 41-27.
I think Travion Henderson's going to have a really nice day.
Okay.
I do think this offensive line is going to take a little bit of
umbrage.
Okay.
With what's been said the last few days. I think
what you said.
And if they do get punched in the mouth, there's those two options. I think they'll take the option of proving yourself.
Okay.
And so I think at the end of this, I think it's going to be 34-27. I think it's going to be a really fun game.
Oh.
I think Utah may have a chance to tie it up at the end, but
So 6.5 is the spread, and you're making it a 7-point prediction. You are no friend to the gamblers out there.
I believe, Jeremy, I'm right on the total as well, around like 61 or 60.
I think it is around 60. I did read something about that.
Take the over. Tyvis, what do you got?
I'm going to say, 45 Buckeyes, obviously. 45-17.
Oh, you're going blowout. This is
the thing, okay? Because see, the thing I know about Ohio State is that the worst time to play an Ohio State team is when they're pissed off. And after losing a game like that, they should be pissed off. And that's a dangerous team. They got to come out there and they're going to show the world what they was here to come.
You talk about us getting punched in the mouth. What happens when Utah is saying, man, we got to go play Ohio State, when they get punched in the mouth right away in the first quarter?
So I'm going to say with, CJ, with the stuff that he's been dealing with, he's definitely going to be slinging that peel.
Travion has a good day. That just means everybody else is going to.
And if that D-line is that great and is that aggressive, I think Ryan Day learned from his mistakes. He's going to throw some screens in there to Travion. He's going to throw some jailbreaks in there. He's going to get that ball out on the perimeter to get this D-line tired, then take advantage from that standpoint. So I think with Ryan Day learning from his past mistakes, it's going to turn into a blowout.
All right. I got Ohio State. 42-28 was my score. So your 41-27 was right there. I do think that it's going to be a little bit back and forth early, and I really do expect to have to see C.J. Stroud have a huge day playing at home, and an opportunity for him to kind of set the stage for next.
He's back on the West Coast in the good weather, so he should feel right at home to go sling that rock.
As we say, put in a Bobby Carpenter nod there. Bob's down in Florida. That's why he's not here this week. We appreciate Tyvis Powell joining us, Spencer Holbrook, Justin Zwick, for Nicole Cox and Roosters. This has been Lettermen Live. Thanks for watching. See you next week.